They never saw it coming. They never expected someone as powerful and unique as you to cross their path. They thought you were just another face in the crowd, someone ordinary, someone easily replaceable. But they were wrong, terribly wrong. What they didn't realize is that you are a chosen one. You were never meant to fit into the box they tried to place you in. You were never meant to blend in because your light is too bright to be dimmed. They looked at you and saw what they wanted to see. They judged you by their limited vision, not realizing that underneath your calm demeanor and humble spirit lay a power so profound that it could change everything around you. They made the biggest mistake of their life when they underestimated you, and now they have to live with the consequences of fumbling someone as rare and extraordinary as you. You see, chosen ones don't announce themselves. They don't walk around seeking validation or applause. They move in silence, letting their energy speak louder than words ever could. And that's what threw them off. They mistook your patience for weakness. They mistook your kindness for naivety. They mistook your humility for insignificance. But the truth is, they were too blinded by their own egos to see the treasure standing right in front of them. The day will come when they finally understand who you truly are. It will hit them like a ton of bricks, the magnitude of their mistake. They will look back and realize that losing you wasn't just a loss, it was a tragedy. Because you were never just an option. You were the blessing they prayed for, the miracle they didn't deserve. And now that blessing is gone and they can never get it back. They fumbled you, and they'll regret it for the rest of their lives. You were the answer they didn't know they needed. You were the light in their darkness, the hope they took for granted. But instead of nurturing you, they chose to ignore you. Instead of appreciating you, they chose to compete with you. They played games, and they lost. And not because you were playing too, but because you were always above the games. You were playing a different league, a divine one. And now they're left empty-handed, wondering how they let someone as precious as you slip through their fingers. What they don't realize is that this was never about you needing them. It was about them needing you. But their pride wouldn't let them see it. Their arrogance blinded them to the truth. They thought they could replace you, but you are irreplaceable. They thought they could find someone better, but there is no one like you. You are one of a kind, you are chosen. And now they must face the reality that they made the biggest mistake of their life. They fumbled you, and they can never get you back. They will watch from a distance as you rise, as you flourish, as you become everything they couldn't even imagine. They will see your light shining brighter than ever before, and it will haunt them. It will torment them because they know they had a chance to be a part of your journey, but they blew it. And as they live with that regret, you will keep moving forward, leaving them behind, forever remembering the day they fumbled a chosen one. They thought they could walk away without consequences. They thought they could discard you without a second thought, assuming you needed them more than they needed you. But they were wrong. And now they're paying the price, because when you fumble a chosen one, you don't just lose a person, you lose divine favor, you lose protection, you lose blessings. You lose everything that was meant to come through that person's life. What they didn't realize is that you were placed in their life for a reason. You were the key to their breakthrough, the missing piece to their puzzle. But they were too blind to see it. They were too busy chasing superficial things to realize the treasure they already had. They chose temporary pleasure over eternal blessings. They chose pride over love. And now they're left with nothing but regrets. The moment they walked away from you, they walked away from everything that came with you. They walked away from growth, from wisdom, from peace. You see, chosen ones don't just come with love. They come with divine protection. They come with favor that can transform lives. And now they're facing the harsh reality that nothing seems to be going right for them. Opportunities are slipping away. Relationships are falling apart. Their peace is shattered. They thought they were punishing you by walking away, but in reality they cursed themselves. They disconnected themselves from the divine source that was meant to bless them. And now they're wondering why everything is going wrong. They're questioning why they feel so lost, so empty, so unfulfilled. But deep down, they know the truth. They know it's because they fumbled you. They played with fire and got burned. They tried to manipulate you, to control you, to use you, not realizing that you were divinely protected. They thought they could hurt you and walk away unscathed, but they didn't understand the power of your spirit. They didn't understand that when you are chosen, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Now they're facing the consequences of their actions. Their lives are falling apart, piece by piece, and they don't know how to fix it. The universe has a way of balancing things out. The pain they caused you is now returning to them tenfold. The tears you cried are now flooding their lives with chaos. They thought they could break you, but they only broke themselves, and as they watch you rise above everything they did to you, they're tormented by the realization that they lost someone irreplaceable. They lost someone who was sent to bless them, to uplift them, to guide them. They fumbled you, and now they must face the consequences. You see, they never expected you to survive without them. They thought you would fall apart, that you would come crawling back, begging for their acceptance. But you didn't. You rose above it all. You kept moving forward, stronger than ever. And that's what haunts them the most. That's what keeps them up at night. The realization that you never needed them, but they desperately needed you. They fumbled a chosen one, and now they're paying the ultimate price. They never saw your worth because they were blinded by their own insecurities. They projected their fears onto you, making you feel like you were not enough, like you were too much, like you were a burden. But the truth is, they were intimidated by your light. They were threatened by your greatness. They saw the potential in you long before you did, and it scared them. So they tried to dim your light, hoping you would shrink to make them feel more comfortable. But what they failed to understand is that you were never meant to fit into their small-minded vision. You were never meant to conform to their limited expectations. You were born to stand out, to break boundaries, to defy the odds. You were chosen to be different, to challenge the status quo, to rise above mediocrity. And no matter how hard they tried to suppress your greatness, they couldn't contain the power within you. You see, your worth was never determined by their validation. Your value was never dependent on their approval. You were valuable long before they realized it, and you will continue to be valuable long after they're gone. They thought they were rejecting you, but they were only rejecting their own blessings. They thought they were hurting you, but they were only hurting themselves, because in trying to break you, they broke their own destiny. Now they're looking back, realizing that they let go of someone extraordinary. They're reflecting on all the moments they could have appreciated you, supported you, uplifted you, but it's too late now. You've moved on. You've grown. You've evolved. And they're left with the painful realization that they fumbled someone who was sent to change their life. They fumbled you, and they will never get another chance. They never saw it coming because they never took the time to truly see you. They looked at the surface, judged you by appearances, and made assumptions based on their own limited perspective. They never bothered to look deeper, to understand the complexity of your spirit, the strength of your character, or the depth of your soul. They underestimated you because they were blinded by their own insecurities and limitations. They saw your humility and mistook it for weakness. They saw your kindness and mistook it for naivety. They saw your patience and thought you were passive. They didn't realize that you were simply observing, learning, and growing in silence. They couldn't comprehend the power of quiet strength, the resilience that doesn't need to boast, the wisdom that listens more than it speaks. They couldn't understand how someone so gentle could also be so powerful. They projected their fears onto you because they couldn't face their own insecurities. They were intimidated by your authenticity, your courage to be yourself without apology. They envied your ability to walk away from drama, to rise above pettiness, and to maintain your peace in the midst of chaos. It confused them because they're used to people who seek validation, who compete for attention, who conform to fit in. But you were different. You didn't seek approval because you were already whole. You didn't need validation because you knew your worth. They underestimated you because they couldn't understand you. You didn't fit into the boxes they tried to put you in. You were too complex, too multidimensional, too profound. You shattered their stereotypes and challenged their expectations. They were expecting someone ordinary, someone predictable, someone they could control. But instead they encountered a force they couldn't contain. A soul that was too expansive to be confined by their narrow minds. They thought they had you all figured out, but they were only seeing the tip of the iceberg. They didn't realize that underneath your calm exterior was a depth of wisdom they couldn't comprehend. Underneath your soft heart was a warrior spirit that had fought battles they couldn't imagine. Underneath your humble demeanor was a leader who could inspire nations. They judged you by the chapter they walked in on, not knowing the journey you had traveled or the mountains you had already climbed. They underestimated you because they were distracted by illusions. They were too focused on superficial things, status, appearances, popularity. They judged you by worldly standards, not realizing that you operate on a higher frequency. They couldn't see your spiritual authority, your divine purpose, your calling. They couldn't understand that you weren't just another person passing through their life. You were a divine assignment, and they missed it. They fumbled you because they were too busy looking for something flashy, something shallow, something easy. But you were never meant to be easy. You were meant to be legendary. Now they're beginning to realize their mistake. They're starting to see the depth they overlooked, the power they dismissed, the brilliance they failed to recognize, and it's haunting them because they can't go back. They can't undo their judgment. They can't erase their underestimation. They fumbled you, and now they must live with the consequences of their short-sightedness. They never thought it would matter. They never thought there would be consequences. They walked away without a second thought, assuming that life would go on as usual. But nothing has been the same since they lost you. Their world has turned upside down and they can't figure out why. But deep down, they know. They know that everything started to fall apart the moment they fumbled you. They underestimated the impact of losing a chosen one. They didn't realize that you weren't just another person in their life. You were a blessing, a divine connection, a source of light. You brought peace where there was chaos, hope where there was despair, love where there was emptiness. You were the glue that held everything together, and the moment they let you go, everything started to fall apart. They're now facing consequences they never anticipated. Doors that were once open are now slammed shut. Opportunities they once took for granted have disappeared. Relationships they valued are crumbling. Nothing seems to work out, no matter how hard they try. They're experiencing loss, disappointment, and frustration at every turn, and they don't understand why. But the truth is, they disconnected themselves from divine favor when they disconnected from you. You see, chosen ones carry blessings wherever they go. They are vessels of light, channels of abundance, messengers of hope. When you're connected to a chosen one, you're connected to divine grace. But when you betray them, mistreat them, or take them for granted, you sever that connection. You close the door to blessings that were meant to flow through them into your life. And that's exactly what they did. They fumbled you, and now they're paying the price. They're haunted by the realization that they could have had it all if they had just valued you. They could have grown with you, succeeded with you, and experienced miracles by your side. But they were too blinded by their ego, too consumed by pride, too distracted by the noise of the world. They didn't see your value until it was too late. Now they're left watching from the sidelines as you flourish, as you rise, as you become everything they never believed you could be. The universe has a way of teaching lessons, and the lesson they're learning is one of loss and regret. They're reflecting on all the times they could have been kinder, more supportive, more loyal. They're remembering all the moments they chose selfishness over love, pride over humility, and manipulation over honesty. And it's tearing them apart because they know they can never go back and change it. They fumbled a chosen one, and they lost their blessing forever. They're living with the consequences every day. They see your name and feel a pang of regret. They hear about your success and feel the sting of missed opportunities. They watch you shine and realize that they could have been a part of your journey, but they chose to betray you instead. They're haunted by the vision of what could have been, tormented by the knowledge that they had a chance to grow with you, but they let their ego ruin it all. They thought they could replace you, but now they see that there is no substitute for a chosen one. They thought they could move on, but they can't escape the emptiness that follows them wherever they go. They thought they could forget you, but they can't erase the memories that flood their mind every time they hear your name. They fumbled you, and the consequences are more than they can bear. They're paying the price of their own arrogance. They're suffering the consequences of their own ignorance. They're trapped in a cycle of regret, replaying the moments they could have chosen differently but didn't. And as they live with this burden, you continue to rise, to grow, to conquer. They lost you, but you never lost yourself. You are a chosen one, and they fumbled you. And now they must live with that mistake for the rest of their lives. They never understood who you truly were. They saw you with their physical eyes, but were blind to your spiritual essence. They couldn't perceive the divine power that resides within you, the purpose that drives you, the calling that sets you apart. You are a chosen one, placed on this earth with a mission so profound that even you are still discovering its depth. Your existence isn't a coincidence, it's a divine design. Your power doesn't come from titles, status, or wealth. It comes from the spirit within you, the spirit that has endured trials, faced adversities, and emerged stronger every time. You were born with a purpose that defies limitations, a destiny that breaks generational curses, a light that darkness cannot overcome. That's why you never fit in. That's why you always felt different. That's why you were often misunderstood. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were chosen to be extraordinary. They fumbled you because they couldn't see the greatness that was hidden in your humility. They were too focused on superficial things to recognize the anointing that was on your life. But the truth is, not everyone is meant to understand your journey. Not everyone is meant to walk alongside you. Not everyone is capable of handling your purpose. You carry a power that intimidates those who are insecure, a light that exposes the darkness in others. And that's why they tried to dim you. But no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't break you. They couldn't destroy what they didn't create. They couldn't stop what was divinely orchestrated. You are connected to a higher source, and nothing they did could sever that connection. They may have tried to block your blessings, but they only delayed their own. They may have tried to bury you, but they didn't realize you were a seed. And now you're rising, growing, and flourishing beyond their wildest expectations. Your power isn't just about strength. It's about purpose. It's about the impact you're destined to make, the lives you're meant to touch, the legacy you're here to leave. Your pain wasn't for nothing. Your struggles weren't in vain. Every obstacle you faced was preparing you for your purpose. Every betrayal was a lesson in resilience. Every rejection was divine protection. You were being molded, refined, and strengthened for a calling greater than you can imagine. You are chosen. You are anointed. You are unstoppable. And nothing they did or said can change that. They fumbled you because they didn't understand your purpose, but that doesn't diminish your power. You are still walking in your calling, still fulfilling your destiny, still manifesting your greatness. They lost access to you, but they didn't stop your elevation. And now, they have to watch from a distance as you become everything they didn't believe you could be. Rejection is painful, but for chosen ones, it's always redirection. It feels like betrayal, but it's actually divine protection. They walked away, they underestimated you, they betrayed you, and it hurt. It felt unfair, unjust, and undeserved. But looking back now, you can see the truth. Their rejection was the catalyst for your transformation. Their betrayal was the breaking point that led to your breakthrough. Their abandonment was the door that closed so a greater one could open. You were never meant to stay in places where you were merely tolerated. You were destined to go where you would be celebrated. You were never meant to shrink to fit into their limited vision. You were chosen to expand, to evolve, to soar. Their rejection forced you to look within, to rediscover your worth, to reconnect with your purpose. It was in the isolation that you found your strength. It was in the solitude that you heard the divine whisper guiding your steps. At first, it felt like a curse. It felt like you were being punished, like you were alone in the wilderness. But now you see that the wilderness was your training ground. It was where you learned to stand on your own, to rely on divine guidance, to cultivate unwavering faith. It was in the wilderness that you discovered your true power, the power that doesn't depend on others' approval, the power that comes from within. They thought they were breaking you. but they were only building you. They thought they were leaving you behind, but they were only positioning you ahead. They thought you would fall apart without them, but you rose higher than they could ever imagine. Their rejection was your redirection. And now you're walking a path they can't follow, a path that leads to greatness, to purpose, to destiny. And now they're realizing what they lost. They're seeing the greatness they underestimated, the power they dismissed, the potential they ignored. They're realizing that while they were busy rejecting you, you were busy evolving. While they were gossiping, you were growing. While they were doubting you, you were transforming. And now they can't reach you, they can't access the version of you that they once took for granted. They fumbled you, and they'll never get another chance. You were never meant to seek revenge. You were never meant to stoop to their level. You were meant to rise above, to shine brighter, to show them that they can't dim a light that was divinely ordained. Forgiveness is your power, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Letting go is your victory, not because they were right, but because you refuse to carry their burdens any longer. You rise by focusing on your purpose, by pursuing your passion, by evolving into the best version of yourself. You shine brighter by choosing love over hate, growth over stagnation, faith over fear. You transcend by letting go of bitterness, by embracing your journey, by believing in your destiny. They may have fumbled you, but that's not your burden to carry. They lost you, but you never lost yourself. Continue to walk in grace, continue to rise in power, continue to shine in love. Your light is too bright to be dimmed, your purpose too profound to be stopped. Keep moving forward, knowing that you were chosen for greatness. Keep evolving, knowing that they were merely a stepping stone to your destiny. Keep believing, knowing that your story is still being written and the best is yet to come. They fumbled you because they were blind to your worth. They underestimated you because they were too insecure to see your power. They walked away thinking they were punishing you, but they were only punishing themselves. They lost you and now they must live with that regret. But you didn't lose anything. You gained wisdom, strength, purpose, and peace. You rose above their betrayal, conquered their doubt, and defied their expectations. You are a chosen one, destined for greatness, anointed for a purpose, protected by divine favor. They fumbled you, but they couldn't stop you. They lost you, but they couldn't break you. They underestimated you, but they couldn't contain you. And as you continue to rise, continue to shine, continue to fulfill your destiny, they will watch from a distance, haunted by the memory of the one they let slip away. They fumbled you, and they'll regret it for the rest of their lives.